What's good, everybody? So a while back I released a video about how to be confident in any situation, and today's Ranveer's LifeHacks episode is a direct sequel to that particular video. Now I feel like one of the biggest life skills in the world is how you deal with people, how you're able to have a conversation with absolutely anyone, even if you've met them for the first time, irrespective of who they are. And it's one of those life skills that they don't teach you in school, so God bless YouTube. And as with any life skill, I feel like this can also be broken down into a few easy points, a few easy tips. And that's what we're going to be going over today. Okay, getting to the first point, you need to understand what people are drawn to. Remember, human beings are hardwired to be drawn to people who radiate positivity. So the first step in having a conversation with absolutely anyone is making them feel a little bit comfortable and creating a certain level of trust in that person. Now, one of the hacks to create a certain level of trust is always holding a slight smile on your face. You go into any party, you go into any situation, you kind of need to avoid the resting bitch face. So resting bitch face is where people in any situation, they'll always have kind of a frown on their face. Like even if they're walking on the road, they'll walk with a frown. That frown unknowingly gives out a bad image of that person. People start perceiving you as someone they can't trust entirely. And that's the first thing you need to avoid. In any party you go to, always hold a bit of a smile on your face. It draws people towards you. So once people have been drawn towards you, what's the next step? And this is where the next 2 points come in. Now, body language is something that is a very, very underrated skill in the world. And body language is also something you can almost manipulate people with. Remember, the whole point of this video isn't about manipulating people. It's about making people more comfortable and having the internal ability to converse with absolutely anyone. And body language is a huge factor in gaining someone's trust. So body language is broken down into two parts. Bad body language, what you want to avoid, and good body language. So the essence of bad body language is having closed body language. If you're talking to someone and you've got your arms all folded up, that's one of the first signs of being a closed human being. Or if your hands are always in your pocket, or if your hands are behind your back, that's what makes the other person trust you a little bit lesser. Kind of gives the other person an impression that you're hiding something. So that's what you want to entirely avoid. Which brings me to my good body language point. Point number 3. What you need to do. When we're talking about good body language, obviously the first point is open body language. So how do you convey open body language? The first step is that you need to use your hands while you talk. I personally have been accused of using my hands a little bit too much. You don't need to use your hands so much, but definitely use them a little bit while you're conversing with someone. When you use your hands to talk, it basically gives the other person an impression that you're confident with what you're talking about. And confidence has a one-to-one relation with being trustworthy. And that's what you're trying to create. The second trick when it comes to good body language is that when you're talking to someone, you kind of want to expose your palms and deliver your points. So even when you're using your hands to talk, kind of let the other person see the insides of your palms. This is an internal human thing. Humans are hardwired to trust someone whose palms they can see. It kind of gives you that impression that, okay, this person's open and he's not hiding anything. It's the exact opposite of having that closed body language and hiding your palms. Either way, coming to the next point, now that your body language is covered, how do you actually carry the conversation forward? Remember, one way to carry any conversation is that you need to have a grip on it. You need to be dominating that conversation. And to dominate the conversation, you need to kind of give the conversation direction. And one way to give direction is to constantly ask questions to the person. So suppose a person's talking about any topic. Suppose they're talking about a football match. One way to carry the conversation forward is to ask questions about that football match. If you ask questions about what the other person's talking about, the other person gets this impression that you're listening to them properly and you're interested in what they're saying. So they go, okay, this person is interested in what I'm saying, I can trust him, and they keep talking. And that's how the level of trust just builds up a little bit. So even if you're not very into the conversation, this is how you can let people think that you are into it. And you kind of set that impression. When people are interacting with you, and then they go home, they're going to remember, that guy was cool. He was listening to me. He was into my conversation. And we basically just bonded well. Okay, and coming to the fifth and final point, which I personally feel is the most important aspect of having a conversation with someone. When you go into any conversation, especially with a stranger, you cannot go in with the intention to judge someone. What you've got to understand is that everyone has their own stories. So, irrespective of what they're telling you, you can't judge them for things. Remember, it's your job in a conversation with a stranger to just catch whatever they're saying. If you catch whatever they're saying and keep it inside you and start judging people based on the sentences they're throwing at you, it kind of brings your own comfort levels down. And in the process of bringing your own comfort levels down, you're also bringing your own happiness down. You might think that, the other person doesn't know that you're judging them, but a lot of times the people who are judged know that they're being judged. And they take away a bad experience from that situation. So remember, the final point is that whenever you're going into a conversation with someone, be completely open-minded. Have the ability inside you to accept whatever that person is saying. When you have that absolute zero level of judgment or judginess inside you, people are going to remember you for that. And when we're talking about people's skills, it's all about building these relationships. Remember, people are going to forget everything you've said to them, everything you've done to them, but people will never forget how you've made them feel. And if you're able to have a conversation with someone where you make them feel like you're a good person and you mean no harm to them and you're not judging them for anything, people take that away from you and your network builds. And this obviously has a carryover to other things. Remember, even when we're talking about something like business, more than your own skills, it's about how you network with people. And a big part of networking is not just going into conversations with the intention to do business or to make contacts. It's about making the other person feel like they mean something to you. That's what you've got to take away from this video. Either way, guys, if you like today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want me to answer any of your questions, make sure you drop it in the comment section. So until next time, guys, from Ranveer, see you.